Good afternoon, Dr. Gary here on the road. We sell dental practices nationwide. The name of our company is Nationwide Dental Practice Brokers.com or healthcarepracticesales.com. We're going to get into a subject today, today's subject discussion is how the bank failure of Silicon Valley Bank can have an effect upon sellers and buyers of dental offices nationwide. There are some ramifications with this bank failure. We're going to talk about that. So, as you know now, we are in 28 states. We just got back from Texas, picked up a few there. And North Carolina was very good. We got about 3 strong ones down there, plus a specialty one. And I should be leaving soon for, I think it's Nevada. Yeah, I think Nevada. We'll pick up a few out there too. So we're always expanding. Anyway, that's where we are. We're in 28 states, always picking up new ones. We try to travel every other month to go visit a state. Every practice we visit, every practice we sell, we try to visit beforehand so we can meet the doctor, see the facility, see the surrounding area, the traffic, the parking, surrounding stores. Are there any empty stores in there? It's something that is, it's important. We do that all the time. But we have our team of 10 employees, including 2 CPA accountants, marketing director, operations director, 5 development acquisition people. So we're available to you 363 days a year. We work every day except Christmas and Easter. Our phones are answered from 8 a.m. East Coast to 9 p.m. So you can get us virtually every day. We always pick up the phone where possible. If we miss it, we're going to get back to you. But we pick it up, we're available. Actually, that's what most of my buyers and sellers tell me, that I'm more available than any professional they work with. So we're proud of that. Now, all the information you're about to hear is for entertainment purposes. It is not legal or business advice. Everything we say is only our opinion. So please be aware of that. Now, if you're thinking about selling to one of the big DSOs, please call us, because we are in the lion's den with them. We know what deals are being made. We know the flexibility and what the parameters are of many of the large DSOs, because we see the deals, the offers, the letters of intent, the negotiations, the back and forth, the requirements, the holdbacks, the offering for employment and what percentage they're at, their ability to negotiate, also what the true value of the practices are, the final offering price. It's not all just about that practice's EBITDA. That practice EBITDA has a strong value, but it's not the only determining factor. It's a factor in one of many factors. It's a strong factor. It's not the only factor. So be aware of that. So we're dealing with them every day. We see what goes on. Often the ones we work with one of the largest ones in the country. We don't have strategic partners. Rather, we switch and change to whoever we think is best for that doctor, seller at that time. Okay? And they can change from year to year. Each and every one of those are a little different. The DSOs and their parameters change. Their level of risk changes. It's a year to year, a 6-month to 6-month change. So we're aware of those. And so they will pay our commission, and if you work with us, often we can get your legal fees reimbursed at the closing table based on certain criteria and so forth. And we've done that a number of times. I think we're the only brokers in the country that offer that. So anyway, today's topic, we're in about March of 23. The bank failed, Silicon Valley Bank, for a variety of reasons. Most of their money was venture capitalist money on the riskier portion. They were their assets and their loans. There was a lot of venture capital money, a lot of startups. That failure of that bank can have a ripple effect even though the FDIC will, bail them out at $250,000 or more. Probably it's going to be more, but every time it fails, that's the U.S. government has to print more money. But it would get people to start thinking about their smaller regional bank. Is their deposits safe? How safe is their deposits compared to some of the large mega banks? Now, dental banks, there's only about a handful of them. The portion of the dental deals are relatively safe, okay? Because the failure of a dental, or the number of loans that go bad in dental, are like success rate 99.75%. Nobody fails. So you have a very secure investment there. That's as far as the dental portfolio goes. But I do caution you, both buyers and sellers. Sellers, if you have a buyer that got his loan or is getting his loan, you may not be ready to sell yet. I understand that. But when you are ready in a year or two and your buyer gets his funding from a small regional bank, I'd be cautious, because people are worried with smaller banks. Don't forget, they have a lot of their loans out in mortgages and so forth at 3.5%. In order for a bank to get extra funding and money at 3.5%, they have to sell some of their mortgages, right? Who wants to buy? And now you can get 5% for your money, maybe 6% on a money market. Who would want to buy 3.5% mortgages, those assets from a bank? Yes, I realize most of them are backed by the government, but still, do you want a 3.5% mortgage? That asset, you probably don't want it. You're going to go for 5%. Therefore, some of these smaller banks can really be affected by the economy if you get a run on the banks. The amount of money in the FDIC compared to the $22 trillion held in the banks is pretty small. The reserves in that. The government can always come in and bail you out, but that has its risks too. So I'm saying to you, as a buyer, when it comes to your loan, please, at least, and have the seller should insist on this, get pre-approved by a couple of banks. If you're going to go with a regional, small local bank, community bank, get approved also by a larger bank, so that when it comes to closing, because it takes 45 to 60 days to close, right? That's if tomorrow you had a letter of intent that was agreed to by the buyer and seller, right? It still takes you 45 to 60 days after that to go to closing. In that time, your small regional bank could be wiped out. It's quite possible. Look how fast this happened with Silicon Valley Bank. And that was a pretty large bank. It wasn't as big as some of the mega banks, but it's pretty large. That's how fast it could happen. It was really in a matter of days that, things got real bad for that bank. So you have to understand what can happen to these small community banks, how fast they could be wiped out. That is, if their depositors are worried and pull their money out, right? And their monies are, a lot of the bank's monies are invested in some of the, the long-term money at lower interest rates like mortgages. And it's a problem. If the bank tries to then sell those mortgages at 3.5%, who wants to buy those things? Because you can get 5% now. So people pull their money out of the bank because savings is like dismal what they pay. It's like nothing, less than 0.25% or even less than that. So people start pulling money out. So there's a lot of issues and a lot of problems that can happen. So once again, I say to you as sellers, even though your dental deals are non-recourse, sellers, you have to insist that the buyer gets approved by multiple banks, including some of the large banks. And there's only a handful of those. You know who's those are. We're not into the strategic partner, or we don't really have partnerships with banks. We don't do that. And we're not an advocate for a bank, but we know who the banks are that do the large deals. So we want our buyers safe. We just don't want, in this channel, we don't want to be a support of anybody. But we say to you that this is an important thing for you to take under consideration. Now, while we're on this subject, we've been talking about the interest rates will be going up. I don't care who says what or whatever, they're going up. All right, they will continue to go up. And at least now they're at about 5.5%. They were at 2.8 not too long ago. So the rates have gone up dramatically. As the rates go up, the banks become a little more cautious because it affects cash flow for the buyer. This will affect the seller because they may start valuing down somewhat the dental office because of cash flow. That is, how much is it going to cost the buyer to purchase the practice and still pay the mortgage? Consequently, the valuations begin to get a bit riskier and they begin to go down. So you, the seller who says, I can't retire now, I can't sell now, well, be aware that, that can affect you and the valuations begin to come down. So you've got to take that in consideration. All of this with the interest rates going up. You got to be real careful who you listen to from the government as far as the telling you transitory. Remember transitory inflation? Well, that didn't happen. And there are a lot of people telling you it will never happen transitory. It is here permanently. And they were right. So at least listen to a lot of different points of view, on this. But be careful. So, sorry, we're in a garage. We're going swimming again. Having a great time. We are going to be going to Nevada soon. So we'll keep you posted on there. I have a couple of $1 million practices to see out there. So we'll keep you posted on that. Sorry for the darkness. I forgot. I'm doing the best I can. All right. So listen to that. We should also be coming out with our new release of the practices for sale very soon in our email blast, which is now, I think, over 800 people. That's over the last 13 years and current. So that should be coming out in the next 2 weeks, I think. I may try to get it out this week. You'll see all the new practices because we picked up a few in Texas. I think 3 or 4 in North Carolina. All right, going swimming. I'll see you guys. Hopefully it'll be springtime soon. It's supposed to snow tomorrow. Whew.